Hello everyone, this is Eric Combs. I just wanted to provide you with a brief intro to my video before you watch it so you can kind of understand what's going on. This is a group of 7th and 8th graders. It's my 2nd and 3rd year students, and the lesson that I'm teaching is the final one on how to read music in 6/8. Up until this point they haven't played anything in 6/8. They've never had it explained to them, never seen it. So it's a fresh concept for them. This is day 4. The first 3 days I just spent some time trying to get them familiar with the sounds of 6/8, and in this 4th lesson you're going to see them try to assimilate all the knowledge that they've gained, and they're going to attempt sight reading a song in 6/8. The method that I use is an interesting one that comes from the book Teaching Rhythm by David Newell. I just picked this book up on accident a few years ago while I was at Peoria and read it, and totally weird concepts, something that a fresh approach that I had never even considered or heard before about how to teach rhythms. And I thought I'd give it a shot and fell in love with it immediately after the first couple of lessons. So I've been teaching all rhythms this way for a few years, and I've seen a huge improvement in sight reading ability from my kids since then. A couple years back I went to Midwest and I was looking at this book, and a gentleman approached me and asked me what I thought of it, and I told him I loved it, that I used it all the time, and he seemed baffled by that. He said, "Really?" He couldn't hardly believe it. He introduced himself to me as the author, as David Newell, and he said he asked people about this book all the time, and they say, well, it just seems like too weird of a concept to them, and they don't want to try it out just because it's totally different than what they do. And he was a little disappointed because he said book sales are horrible, and hardly anybody ever does it, and he was excited to hear that I did it, and he said, "It works, doesn't it?" And I said, "Yeah, it does." And he says, too bad that more people don't do this." Well, his approach is to teach rhythm the same way that anybody learns how to speak and read and eventually write. And he talks about the way that an infant first starts babbling and making sounds that they don't really know what means. They're just repeating things that they hear. Eventually they start making word associations, like they learn what dad means, what mom means, and they are able to repeat these words one word at a time, and they have word associations. Eventually they learn how to string them together and make sentences that come out fluently, and up until this time they've never seen written word. They're just speaking. And it's not until they're able to have a conversation fluently and speak and listen and know what things mean before you actually give them the written word. And then they start to learn what they already hear looks like. And they can make those associations. So what comes first is sound and speaking and performing, and what comes second is seeing and making associations. And once kids are able to do that, then they can read, and they learn to read in small chunks, and eventually they can read books. And only after all of that do they get a theoretical explanation of how the grammar works, and they take English classes and they learn how to put sentences together into paragraphs, and they learn the theory behind it. So David Newell talks about how this relates to music. In music, his approach is to teach first the sound and play things for kids and have them echo, get them performing. That'd be the same as them hearing somebody speak as an infant, and then echoing that, babbling. Once they can fluently echo these sounds and they seem like they're confident in making different rhythms, then the next step is to show them what that rhythm looks like. And then they can see what they already know how to do looks like. And after they can do that, then you start having them read rhythms on their own and give them a theoretical explanation. Once they can play something and see it, then you can explain the theory behind it. Now, what David Newell says that a lot of us do as band directors, and I know I did this for a long time until I decided I liked the other way better, is to first show a kid what something looks like and say, "Hey, look at this, these are 16th notes." And then the next thing you do is you provide a theoretical explanation of how it goes. And you say, there's 4 of these in a quarter note, it takes 16 of them to make a measure, that's why we call them 16th notes. Now play it. And usually they'll fail the first few times, and it just doesn't seem like it makes sense to them. They trip over themselves trying to play the rhythms. So then the next step as a band director would be to say, "No, it doesn't go that way, it goes this way, listen." And then you perform it for them, and they echo you. And David Newell says, after we have provided the theory and we've tried to get them to do it and we failed, we finally resort back to step one, which is show them what it sounds like. And then all too often we'll send a kid home, tell them to practice it, they come back, they've practiced it wrong, so you have to show them how it goes by rote. And eventually what happens is the kid learns how to play that song, but they can't do it on any other song. So this book and this method kind of breaks that cycle. It teaches them how to perform it, teaches them what it looks like, and then it seems like it comes easier for the kids, from my experience, to take that, and they're not asking anymore, how does this go? They're actually just sight reading it in any book. They've mastered the rhythm and they're able to put it in different situations. So I hope you can see that take place in this video. I'm not going to talk a lot. In fact, the first 3 days all I did was I played and they echoed me, and that was it. I didn't provide any explanation at all. The fourth day I started off with no explanation, as you'll see in the video. I played, they echoed. Finally I put it on the board so they could see what it looked like. I still didn't say anything. I was telling them to imagine in their heads what I'm playing should look like, so in effect they're doing some mental dictation, and I'm letting them draw all the conclusions on their own. Finally, I hope you can see in the video, they get it. I have them read it. I haven't told them a thing about it yet, but they're associating what they can do with what it looks like. So when it gets to the point where I'm supposed to explain it to them, there really isn't anything left to explain because they get it and they're able to perform it. And then we put it together in a sight reading piece. It's their first attempt at something in 6/8, and you get a chance to see how it goes.
Here's what's going to happen. I want you to echo what I play. Today it's going to be a little different because I'm going to display the rhythm on the board. So as I'm playing it and you're echoing it, I want you to look at the board and see what it looks like. It is extremely well. Tuning note. As you're playing it, I want you to really listen to this metronome, try to line it up. 1 and 2. I'll go first. not going to display them quite as early. I'm going to hold off on it and display it the second time through. Your job is to think in your head what it's going to look like ahead of time. So try to imagine what it's going to look like. Here we go. We'll repeat just like we did a second ago. Me first. Play the magic. What kind of conclusions did you come to as you're looking at the rhythms up there? Can you tell me anything about it? Can you tell me how it compares to 2/4?
It's like 2/4 triplets.
It's like 2/4 with triplets. That's right. So we have 2 beats in a measure, but each beat's a triplet. Triplet, triplet. Anything else?
It's easier for your part to conduct than 2/4.
It is easier to conduct it to 2/4. Yeah, instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm just going to go in 1, 2. Anything else? Well, it is divided, like Nick says, into 3 beats. And here's something that we haven't talked about yet. Fast forward here. Simple versus compound meter. In simple meter, the beat's divided into 2 equal parts, kind of like in 2/4. And in 2/4, the beat's divided into 2 eighths. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And in compound meter, which is what we just did, the beat is divided into 3 equal parts. Now it says example 8/8, but I should say 6/8. In 6/8, the beat is divided into 3/8 notes. So I'm still conducting in 2 like this, but we're dividing into 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got a couple of examples here. There's an example of simple meter. Who can tell me how to count that? What numbers would you use? Anybody? Yeah.
1, 2, and 1 and 2.
1, 2, and 1 and 2. You're right. And I'm going to display that up here. And here is an example of compound meter. So you can see that each one of these beats, I have a group of 3 notes because it's 3 notes in a beat, and here's how you're going to count that. I put the big ones as 1 and 4 because those are where the beat's at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 4. Okay. Now, up until now, you've been echoing me. Now I want you to play it on your own. All right. So, add a step to this. So I'm gonna turn this back on. Not an echo. You're just gonna play it when I count you off. 1, 2, and ready, go. rest in 6/8, the measure is just going to be 2 beats really. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I count 1, 2. All right, next one. Ready, go, and there is a place at 35, if you find that, it says much slower. I'm actually going to stop at the fermata right beforehand, and it's going to be this slow. Ba 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 da dum bum 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 ba. And then odd tempo, we're back to the original tempo. Bum 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 bum. Dylan.
Alto sax, Qs 13 and 23.
Go ahead and play.
Okay.
Yep, any cues you have, go ahead and play. Any other questions? Take a look at your key signature. Yes.
You want us to play top and bottom? Like, on the bed?
Oh, you have it divided on the very sax part? And it just says very up at the top left. Okay. How about we do top and bottom? We'll do bottom. Okay. Anything else? All right, let's try it. Da, 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 da. Ready and go and up. Tempo.
this point in the rehearsal, we paused the video and then we did a couple of run-throughs of the song. It took about 5 minutes, fixed some dynamic issues and the tempo, and what I'm about to show you is the third run-through.
A little quicker this time. Ja, di, da, 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 re, mi, a, go, and a.